Welcome to the Vibrant Living Network. Have you ever wondered what is possible beyond possible? What is the thing you've been wondering and inquiring about? Are you just feeling stuck and don't know why? Are you thinking or are you seeing? Seeing allows us to expand and have this other experience. We want to invite you for that wake-up call. We want to invite your spirit, your soul, so to be more alive, more connected. Glenn Brooks has been a life coach for over 33 years, author of Divorced to Patterns, Not Each Other, an explorer of what is possible. He has worked with people all around the world. Join us for a wake-up conversation, a dialogue with you. We will have some of the most interesting contributors. We will be talking to some of the most interesting people and have some of the most resourceful teachers, wisdom-filled people from around the world join us. Share your voice, ask the questions, become free of the known into a new world of possibility. We are going to talk about all the things you wonder about: how to live, how to heal, how to connect, how to love, how to be seen. Your life is precious. Enjoy it.
Hello, I'm Glenn Brooks. Welcome to the Vibrant Living Network. And in a moment, I'm going to tell a story. And the purpose of me telling you the story is it will convey spirit. It will convey the spirit of the story, right? So there's a story. It's kind of like we have two states. There's only two states we could live in. We could live in this vibrant state or a counterfeit state. So there's certain things, when we become aware of them, they kind of change our system. They change our listening. Now, with that, I want to introduce you to the Vibrant Speaking Circle, the team. Without further ado, Gayle Randall, who I believe it's our 56th day of uninterrupted meeting in truth, discussing what's vulnerable. She is the captain of my healing journey. She's a Harvard-trained professor, medical doctor. She's the innovative doctor of the future that actually practices physician heal thyself. She's a soul family member. Dr. Gayle Randall. I'm going to give you the stick.
I love Harvard, but I'm actually a UCLA professor.
You're going to use the old LA language. I'll give it a shot. We'll see if Janet said. Janet, are you on board today? Oh, not yet. Lisa LaRose? Not yet.
Hello.
Lisa LaRose. I'm so happy you're here. Executive producer.
Thank you.
Long-term vibrant virus person. But it's a good virus, though. So some viruses are thought-filled viruses that when you eradicate them, you have a new life. So the thought viruses that say, like, it's flu season, or my father had headaches, therefore I have headaches. My very good friend Jack Lane said that his father passed away at 48, and he told me, he said, well, that was one thought virus to let go of. So Jack used to say that most people are good at making a dying, not a living. And then he told me when he was 93, he said, Glenn, he goes, dying's going to be bad for my reputation. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, he goes, when I die, people won't talk about me anymore. So I want to acknowledge that Jack, I love Jack so much. And he was someone that, when he was on television, changing so many people's lives with his German Shepherd on the country's first fitness show, they told him you only last 6 weeks. So he went way past. So what other people say about you and what their opinions are and their scripting has really nothing to do with you. Right? Or as Paul Bragg said to me, that the things they say now that are dead won't matter. Right? So when people say things sometimes, they don't really see you. It's sort of irrelevant. Cherie Marquez, who now has taken the identity of the dog mystic, helping people experience the language of dogs and have kinship with them in a way that's unusual and profound and powerful. Welcome, Cherie.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for listening, everyone.
Morning, Cherie.
Good morning.
So we're going to take a pause. I want to just say, so today, before I tell you the story that will... So there's a story in you, right? There's a story in you, and when you tell the story, you become aware of the story. It changes everything for you. We have a story in you, so you have a vibrant story. So how I work with speakers is, We get in a circle, vibrant speaking circle, and I ask people if they don't have a story, I ask them to listen to someone else's story. So I'm going to give you an example. I was speaking with Anna Forrest, big-time yoga teacher, and she said, "Glenn, I want to tell you the story," because I was realizing that exemplification, being an exemplifier, really it means putting someone, all that you give yourself. So when you totally give to someone beyond the linearness, it shifts you. So she told me she was at a Tony Robbins program, and she had climbed a 20-foot, 5-foot pole, and she said she was just exhausted doing the pole. But when she came down, there was a man in a wheelchair, and she looked at him and said, "I'm climbing the next one for you." And she said that her energy changed, and right, so it was a shift. So I felt that. I was actually leaning against a washing machine when she told me that story. And I realized that was a shift, that was a moment, and as Gayle, Dr. Randall says, it becomes like a vertical leap. So a vertical leap is when you go past what you always thought to be true. So if you always thought something was true, then that becomes, in some sense, your beliefs could be your diseases. But when you have a vertical leap, meaning that you see beyond, you go into a vertical state, which is kind of beyond. I don't want to make this confusing, but basically your brain shifts, and you go from your local mind to this bigger mind, right? You get this bigger place, and you see. So, like during today, the most relevant thing is when we pass each other, we see each other. You know, there was this one guy I used to hike with Norman, and Norman, he was put in jail for a while, but when I saw him, I really just saw him, and so when he was around me, he was very safe, and. So what does it mean to be safe around someone? It means to feel a sense of at ease where you feel you could take a risk, right? And the risk could be standing up. I mean, it could be something minor. So that's why, I say one of the greatest gifts I want to give people is giving them a world beyond dating, because true relating is beyond dating. And probably 3 weeks now, we're starting a new show called Vibrant Matchmaking, Beyond Dating to Relating, which I'm kind of very enthused about. Wow. I'm so kind of excited today to introduce you to one of my number one mentors for the last 29 years. He's 86 chronologically, but biologically he's probably 41, and he's a neurosurgeon. There's so much I want to share about Norm Shealy, and we're starting a new program with Norm, a mentor membership program, which Gayle will be a part of, and he's going to be on at the bottom of the hour, at the half hour. It's the bottom of the hour. It's the bottom of the hour. All right. I'm going to do an open dojo. I'm going to hand I want to reach out to one of you. Who feels the most inspired to say something so we could have a vibrant rhythming? I like playing with vibrant for everything, by the way, as you could tell. It's just to be vibrant is to be able to be in rhythm and to be able to have a quality of seeingness and then share that with someone else, which is something that I began again. What did you say? How many days has it been now, Gayle? How many days have we been meeting and living truth? How many days have we been meeting and discovering? And was it 56 days now?
56 days of ceremony today.
That's just amazing.
Today.
It only
Beautiful.
gets better. It only gets better. It only gets better and better and better. As I sit I'm sitting on the peat moth bed here.
You're detoxifying.
Thank you. Well, since you're my doctor, I could ask you that. It's nothing like having a family relationship. So much. The best profound medicine is vulnerability. So I love being vulnerable with Gayle because it surprises my system, because I didn't realize we all have a script about doctors, and the script goes something like this: they have something concerning, it's scary, it seems like the tests they do are invasive. Like there's a lot of scripting around it, and I've unscripted so much with Gayle that I feel Gayle is the new breed of physician that we all would love to have. And as much as I've done on this topic, I did a whole series with Dr. Richard Moss, the author of The I That Is We, on the Ultimate Hospital. I just was always kind of questioning, because around me, when I was growing up, when I was like 5 and 6, my grandmother, I never saw her stand up, and when I would go to see her sometimes, she'd go to the hospital, and they would put a harness around her and put her in this pool. And all I knew is that she had some diagnosis, or she still has rheumatoid arthritis. So I realized a good chunk of my life, my father, I wouldn't wake up in the morning by an alarm clock. which is good. I wake up with my father clearing his throat and taking a lot of antihistamines, a lot of decongestants. And then I didn't realize there was a bigger thing. There was a bigger pulse. When I met Jack LaLanne, he said to me that, basically when Jack LaLanne, I want you to think about the 40s or the 50s. So Jack was explaining free weightlifting, and he was having people come weightlift, which is the doctors were warning can make you impotent, turn off your sex life. They were really scared at the time. That was their belief system at the time. So as you listen to Vibrant Living, you could lose a belief system during this exchange, which I would love you to do. A belief system is something you believe to be true. So Jack pretty much had no degrees when he shared that innovation. All right, I'm going to pass my vibrant stick. Gayle? Is it going to be you?
Sure.
Okay. And then we'll go to Cherie. We'll go to Lisa.
Something that came to me this morning, and that I feel because I knew I was going to be meeting with this incredible team of light workers and vibrant healers, was this. I want to help amp up the vibrancy of the circle here right now. Send us into ceremony. Let me strum your vibrant chord. The day you set yourself free is the day you realize you are enough. And you always have been. Aho.
Beautiful. Aho. Aho.
So I think that's a beautiful note to start on, and if we can really feel into that, that we are enough, and together we're even more than enough. So we can launch off on that.
Oh, no, that's fabulous. I think it echoes what, sometimes Glenn, I think he speaks to you and then he channels in lots of information. And so sometimes it takes a little while for me to disseminate through all the wisdom. And, so thank you, Glenn, for, being a teacher to me in that realm. And so one of the things, what I thought was so interesting is you bring the little tidbits about what possibilities for us to bubble on during this time together. The common threads seem to be awareness, and that we are each other's teachers, and that we all have the opportunity to be the teacher and the student. And I know one of the things that you shared was, about allowing other people to be your teacher, but also I thought it was the sweetest thing that you shared was letting your dog be your teacher. And also, letting that become like a practice the same way that you would practice yoga. And so I was curious, Cherie, in the work that you do, what are some of those tidbits of wisdom that your teachers, these dogs, have shared with you that you think would create a greater awareness for each of us?
Beautiful.
The most important is living in the moment. I mean, that is for sure. The beautiful aspects of animals that, they're always in the moment. So they're not worrying about what happened in the past, and they're not worrying about what's happening in the future. All they're worrying about is right now, the here and now. So, it's just take it in, appreciate where you are in life, and just be grateful that you're alive, and that everything can and will get better in time.
That's beautiful. It fills my heart. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. They're just amazing. They're amazing, and like animals in general are just amazing. And they allow you to just appreciate the simplicity of.
Your rooster agrees with you.
I was going to say, if one of you imitated a rooster, that was absolutely great. It sounded just like a rooster. That was amazing.
Well, I am home right now, and there is a chicken rooster coop in my backyard. It's kind of like just
Yeah.
But yes. So there's a few roosters and lots of chickens, but they're huge. But they are singing from 5 o'clock in the morning until it gets dark. So
it almost sounded like he was going with the sentiments that you guys shared. It was going woohoo, woohoo! You humans finally get it. Woo!
It was perfect timing.
Roosters feel energy too.
Yes. So
one of the things I want to make available to everyone is this book I wrote. I want to send a certain number of copies out. It's in a rough edit right now. It's been edited once, but needs another edit. But if you guys are interested in being a reviewer on the Vibrant Living team, I have a book. It's my first book. It's called Unscripted Power. And I love reviewing stuff. By the way, if you have had a vibrant experience with something or product or food, let me know. I'm very interested in products that really contribute to people's lives. I'm gonna get Sam Gerard on the show soon. Sam made a product about 36 years ago called the Ultimate Meal, and he has 100,000 people that take the Ultimate Meal. And what he was saying to me yesterday, which I loved, was that he only makes the product for himself. He never made the product to sell, and he's a very unusual. So if you guys are vegan, you go to, I think it's the Ultimate Meal or the Ultimate Life. I'm forgetting which is correct domain name. But if you put the Ultimate Meal in, you can read about it. It's very interesting. It's kind of like what people miss in this thing in their quest to marketing is meaning, right? Meaning and kind of like what is it that really has meaning? And so what happens is they sell out because they're marketing something. So in the old days, the difference in the old days and now is that you had a lot of people who were like crusaders. It really meant something. It had some meaning for them to put a message out. And so that's what happened when I met some of these. The world's biggest publisher was a guy named Bernard McFadden. And McFadden if you read his writings, there's so much soul in his books, including the Encyclopedia of Physical Culture. So the Unscripted Power, if you email me or call me, I will send you a copy of Unscripted Power with chapters such as golden feedback. Not all feedback you get is equal. As a matter of fact, a lot of feedback is a hindrance. What is golden feedback and how to access that in your life? It applies to speaking. It applies to writing, performing. And how to be a shapeshifter, Chapter 3, I believe. And I have chapter, I know what it is. They run for the hills. You guys are going to like this. They run for the hills. These are the people that somehow don't seem to get me. I don't know why, but they run for the hills. I have a chapter about that. So if you find people running for the hills, sometimes what it is who you are. They don't know how to. No one taught them to access you. If they grew up in a little town, and the metaphor for the town is the mind. Some people, if you don't look a certain way, smell a certain way, have a certain belief system, people can't really see you. So Unscripted Power, you could get a review copy and review it, and I'll post your review. I want to get some reviews posted on that. So my email is Glenn, GLENN, vibrantliving@gmail.com, Glenn, GLENN, vibrantliving@gmail.com. See, I bet you have a book in you. You might have a message in you. And sometimes that message comes after a midlife crisis, a crisis. And I've met many, many people who I met a guy who was in a serious car collision. I met him. He had a 3-wheel bicycle, and he used to come see me. And a lot of miracles would happen around him because he began again in the world. Like he was beginning again, and it was a beautiful thing being around him. And I've had the chance of being around several people like that. So this idea of beginnership, beginning again out of nowhere, and it's something that when it so one of the things that happens when people go for a shift, sometimes they get unbusied, they get unhurried. So what I noticed was over the last 30 years, actually I've been coaching 38 years, and I noticed that people that get unhurried, they have another thing happen in their life. They have a room for relationship now. They have what I call a relational space. So one of my great lessons was I had a woman who I was working with, and she actually filled her business up. And she was a photographer. Then she came to see me. She said, Glenn, when my business is at 100%, I'm really unhappy. And I said, why? She said, well, because part of what I built into the old model before I got into goal setting was I used to wander in the woods and take pictures of trees and flowers. So I said, yeah. I said, what it is was we're all taught. Thank you. We were all taught to fill up our sand, our beach basket or whatever. But then no one teaches about the values of openness or open space or relational space. So she went back. She cut down 20% of her business and started wandering again, and she gained that kind of spring in her step. And that's the challenge of goal setting. There's very few people in the goal setting models that kind of gives you this thing of you could say, just being, right? Just being, right? That sort of in between space. That's the moment of wonder. We can't really imitate that in each other. I'm just sort of like finding some rhythm before we introduce Norm, who's going to be here in a minute. Should I say something about one of our 56 days, Gayle, or 56 day? All right. What I noticed that meeting with you in unconditional time for 56 days, where our listening is in the forefront, caring is in the forefront, I've discovered some of these new places that I've always kind of thought I knew. And what I've done is I reinvestigated with you things that I thought I knew. So as an example, I thought I knew certain things about the diet, which I do, but I reinvestigated them with you. And what I love and treasure and worship in our conversations is you always bring me innocence, kind of wisdom, and then you back me up. So I know you found a new supplement the other day that you said it would be very good. And so I love every day when we begin, because we truly begin, and at the same time the sense of family and rhythm that I feel not just with you, but I feel it with your whole office. I feel another experience of family and breathing together that I didn't have before. So I'm really so appreciative, because I couldn't have figured this out. If I had all the time in the world, if I could have read every book, I couldn't have figured out. So if you're in a dilemma right now, and Einstein does say you can't have deal with a problem at the level of the problem. And so I don't know. I guess you could just say it's. I've always wanted this for the Vibrant Living Challenge. I wanted people to practice being unscripted, to being spontaneous, and to have someone they can count on who covers.
What happens with all my patients, but with you in an amplified way, because we've done it ceremonial and continuous for 56 days. But I'll see my patients repetitively, but with each patient, they begin to experience things in a new way, and then I also learn from them to experience things in a new way, and then according to that individual, whatever it is their needs are, or what they need, either physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, I will begin to, if I don't already know it, or I will know it at a higher level, or I will also investigate it myself and then bring more into the equation. So we amplify each other in that way. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. I want to thank everybody at Bless Fest. I just came back from Bless Fest. I think I'm on the way, because I haven't gotten confirmation, but I think we're on the way to Satnam Fest, East, Satnam Fest. Satnam is the blessing and greeting in the Kundalini tradition, and it was started by Yogi Bhajan many, many years ago, and he has a lot of people who treasured his work. One of his books I read, I probably read this when I was maybe 21. He wrote a whole book on the power of your sound, the power of your language. When we generate sound, it's very powerful. I want to thank everybody at Bless Fest. And my lesson from Bless Fest is that each moment is a moment to be blessed, if we're singing or not, that there's these moments. And if we just pause, they're blessed moments. And especially when we let someone else kind of remind someone else it's a blessed moment. I want to thank the people at Cushman Station in Amherst, Massachusetts, where they had that one little wonderful green. And I met someone I hadn't seen in years on Sunday when I went to get the food for my food and Adora's food for Bless Fest. And it was just great. There's matter of fact, the guy who lent me my phone today, Suriname, is a musician, and I'm sitting on a part of the property that has peat moss on it. He owns a green laundromat. So if you guys need a laundromat in Amherst, it's the green laundromat owned by Cherie. It also plays at Cushman Station. Make this kind of a folksy moment. So upcoming. What time do we got? Anybody got the linear time right now? I'm just curious. Is it 12:20 or 12:15? I'm sorry, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock.
1:30.
Is it 1:30 right now?
Almost.
Eastern time. Yes.
It's 1:30 right now. Wow, that means that. Norm, are you there right this second?
No, he's got.
Norm?
Hello.
He just entered the room. This is incredible. All right.
Wow.
All right.
Well, perfect timing.
So I want to introduce. Norm, could you hear me right now? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I hear you fine.
All right, good. It was kind of awkward. I felt I was screaming at you, but you were sitting next to me. So what I wanted to do, that's supposed to be funny, I just want to introduce you for a moment. Is that okay?
Whatever you want to do.
Thank you. I'm very honored. What do you do when you have so much to say and it's just right this moment?
Well,
I was saying to Norm.
I
was saying to Norm earlier that I was going to use. What's that?
I'm writing a new book called "Who Killed Common Sense."
What's your new book?
Who Killed Common Sense?
I love it.
I know some culprits, by the way. I met Norm through his book, 90 Days to Self-Help, 30 years ago, and I read it, and I felt an immediate kinship with Dr. Norm Shealy, as both kind of an academic genius, but as someone that had soul and awareness that was uncommon, common sense, art and common sense. Stay with us to Dr. Norm Shealy and Vibrant Living and How to Grow Vibrantly Young as a Way of Life. Stay with us. Your life's precious. Enjoy it.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Conflict comes in many forms and often triggers a fight-or-flight response. Some of us gravitate toward conflict, while many will stop at little to nothing to avoid it. Unfortunately, what we resist will persist, which often forces us to face our fear and deal with it head-on. Join me during my show, Conflict Rising, as I discuss the important role of conflict with leaders who have moved through it successfully. Tune in Thursdays at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, it's always darkest before the dawn.
Opiates has taken everything and everyone I've ever loved away from me. Everything.
I blew my ankle out and I got prescribed pain pills by my doctor.
If making my detox public is going to help somebody, I'm all for it. I just wish I would have had a warning.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth. A message from Truth, the Ad Council, and ONDCP.
Hello, I'm Glenn Brooks. You're listening to the Vibrant Living Network. Dr. Gayle Randall, Cherie Marquez, Lisa LaRose, and myself. Dr. Norm Shealy is someone that I've had the honor and pleasure and family experience with for over 29 years now. In so many ways, Norm has shifted my perception. He's reminded me that we could grow young as a way of life, as a way of inquiring, and part of our growing youngness is about forgiveness. It's about changing our perceptions. I was doing a series with Norm on essential oils, and soon after the series, I've had the honor to work with Norm many, many times, and have wonderful soul-felt conversations with Norm. And during the series, Norm developed these formulas, the Airbliss formula, which changes the brains in, I think, 2 minutes. Norm will comment on this later, I promise. But I was thinking to myself, how do I work with couples as a matchmaker? Because sometimes people get really stiff in the brain. And when Norm told me it could change the brain so quickly and transform couples, I realized it was what I was asking for, because I realized that sometimes when our brain gets less than plastic and our perception becomes stuck, it's really hard to forgive and deepen your love, which, by the way, is the new science of love. It's called the new attachment theory. So Norm allowed me to utilize a tool in my coaching practice, and also reminded me that there's just like Dr. Gayle does, there's a resource, even if the experts around you don't see it or say it. So what Norm has demonstrated for me, both as a family member and as a scientist and a mystic, is that there's always an answer. There's always something beyond your perception if you're willing to allow a miracle. And the miracle is shifting a perception, be willing to receive something. So it's the deepest honor today to have Dr. Norm Shealy with us. And Norm, we got Dr. Gayle Randall here. She's works the last 40 years. She's been an innovative physician. She hasn't met you before, by the way. I know she's excited about the reunion meeting. We got Cherie Marquez, who's a dog mystic. I know you had a German Shepherd. I want to ask you. I never got to ask you about your Shepherd. I love Shepherds. I realize perfect. You and Jacqueline would have Shepherds.
Yeah, I have a friend who said the only thing better than 2 German Shepherds is 3.
Lisa LaRose could relate to that. I know you, Lisa. You have 2 Shepherds. I think you do. You have 2 Shepherds now or more?
Shepherds. Yes, that's correct.
2.
I have only 1 Shepherd and 1 Blue Heeler.
Oh wow!
Very nice.
Nice. Very nice.
How do you see? Just out of curiosity, how would you put dogs in the equation, in the healing equation, Norm? Where would you put Norms in terms of?
Well, second only to humans. One of my favorite cartoons is a physician saying to a patient, "Go home and allow your dog to lick your face." Dogs alive is the best antidepressant known.
They will always be there to make you feel better.
Exactly.
Make you feel better, and even if you're in your mind of overthinking. I mean, like, even if they're leaning their whole entire body weight on you to make you aware that, don't worry, like, you're not alone in this. I am here for you. Either they're leaning on you or they're putting their paw on you. Like my dog, Emma, she literally, like, grabs her paw with, like, grabs my hand with her paw and pushes it towards her chest just to start petting her every single time that you stop. So I mean, they're so receptive to know exactly when the extra love is needed. Extra love, extra support. I mean, they're always loving, but they know exactly when it is 100% needed.
Well, interestingly, I've noticed now that Cody is 16 years of age, he still seems to be quite good, but our German Shepherd Tonto licks him more than ever. It's like he's aware that he must be getting older, so he's giving him extra attention.
Extra love.
How old is Tonto?
He's 8.
A young dog.
That's awesome. 16. That's beautiful.
Yeah, the last 16-year-old we had was many years ago when my eldest son was 16. He had a 16-year-old dog, and he actually took it to the vet at the end of its life. And we haven't had one get to 16 since then, until now.
Well, I'm sure, Dr. Shealy, you've been applying what you've learned about growing younger to your dog, which is, it's almost in the time and space that you share together. I'm sure that he's grateful for everything that you've done in that realm, and probably is benefiting from the wisdom of the nutrition and the oils and the sound healing and all of the other amazing things that you have brought forth in your work.
Well, the single most important thing, of course, as we know, is attitude. Nothing else can come close to it. It determines everything in your life. It determines the choices you make. It determines your state of peace or anxiety, and ultimately your entire lifespan and health.
What have you seen, Norm, in terms of attitude? You told me a story once about a woman who came to see you. I think it was a German woman, and she came to see you, and I think you had taught her a forgiveness exercise, and I think she might have had stage 4 cancer. And I think you told me she had a radical healing after doing forgiveness. Have you seen attitude changes shift a person's biology fairly?
Oh, yeah.
What's the norm story around this?
This woman, this was actually April of 1974. This woman was sent to me by an oncologist for treatment of pain and told her family she had 2 months to live. She couldn't get out of bed, and we spent actually 3 weeks working with her. And just before the end of her stay with us, I did an exercise. I had a whole group of patients, and I had them all in the room, and I did a 20-minute exercise on forgiveness. And this woman who we brought in on a stretcher got up and walked out of the room free of pain. 3 months later, her cancer, which is widely metastatic, was gone, never to return. A year later, I'm in California, actually a year and a half later. I was in California to speak at a hospital where she had been unsuccessfully treated for metastatic cancer. She picks me up, we're driving down, she says, Norm, I want to tell you what happened. During that exercise last year, I suddenly realized how much I hated my family. And this is a direct quote. And I decided I'm not going to let the bastards kill me. She says, I flew home on a commercial plane. She'd been brought up by air ambulance. I flew home on a commercial plane. I got off the plane, and I said to my husband, I'm going to get well. And he said, but you've got cancer, you're going to die. She said, I got well, and he committed suicide.
Wow.
Now, his suicide, now that's another equally important story. 2.5 years earlier, she had nursed him when he had a kidney transplant from her favorite of their 2 sons. He got well and took the kidney transplant and never had a problem. But when she got well, it's so disturbing to him that it overcame all of his thoughts that he rejected the kidney and died.
Wow.
So imagine. Attitude is everything, both positive and negative. I had a lady once that had esophageal cancer, and I had invented a tool to open up her esophagus, which she was a perfect candidate. It was a perfect treatment. I talked her into it. The endoscopic result was perfect, but she didn't want it, and it didn't work.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if the person doesn't want it and doesn't believe that it's going to work, that's it.
And you're wasting time and money.
Right, exactly. So I learned my lesson that way. So sorry about that. But I've had many, many other experiences, including my mother and my brother, that truly believe they would get better and beat things like cancer and leukemia at all. Everything said otherwise. So.
Wow.
Well,
so I have this. Go ahead, no, I'm sorry.
Well, it's all what you choose to do and think. Now,
exactly.
Thinking cannot overcome all the bad habits. In other words, all the positive thinking in the world won't help you if you're 40 or 60 pounds overweight. Halitosis is better than no breath at all, but you must keep your weight within the normal body mass index of 18 to 24.
But your attitude can help you get there.
Well, of course it can. That determines everything.
Right.
But the other thing that, despite all of these things and these adult habits, and we all know what the 5 are, but Eric Berne, the creator of transaction analysis, also said that we set the time and cause of death early in life. In other words, we create a life script. Something happens, usually in the first 10 to 15 maximum years of life. Something happens to someone very close to us, and we decide that somehow we're going to die at that age of that disease. And he told his inner circle of friends that his life script called for him to die at age 60 of a heart attack, and he did. And a few years later, I was speaking at the International Association of Transactional Analysis, and I said, he was so brilliant. Why didn't he change his light script?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the others said, but Norm, what better way to prove his point?
I'm not going to prove any more points after the story. Jeez.
Well,
we know now, Norm, and I know you know this, but not only can we change our script, we can change our genes.
Oh, yes.
We can actually change our genes with our
attitude. The vast majority of genes are influenced by our thinking and our habits.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I choose to think all my genes are okay.
I want to share this vision with Norm. I was waiting today to share it with you.
Good.
So we're on the road. We have a vision of being 2 nights at Carnegie Hall. 2 nights at Carnegie Hall. So my vision is, on the first night, I introduce you to give your talk on vibrant youthing. So vibrant youthing is a way of life. And I get to introduce you, and you get to talk to people from your experience, along with our other vibrant speakers. So I wanted to, from my heart and from my vision, share that you keep coming up, and I see myself on stage with you, you giving this talk, for the first time to have a talk on keeping the music of life alive in you and others. So I wanted to share that with you, and then I want to let people know that this information is profound, but imagine living it as a way of relational wisdom in your life. So I want to invite you guys to be part of the vibrant youthing, or the vibrant youth, because so much of what's real about you is ageless, but the habits. So imagine being in a supported group where the whole year we grow younger together, we are wiser, and we go past these unconscious habits. You know, Norm, you shared something with me about I think it was your great-grandfather. Was it your great-grandfather? What's the lesson from your great-grandfather that transformed you?
My great-great-grandfather.
I'm sorry, great-great-grandfather.
Yes, I met him when I was very young, maybe at the latest 5 years of age. And my great-grandmother, who lived, by the way, he lived into his late 90s. My great-grandmother lived to be 102 and a half. And when I was 12 years old, she gave me his diary, which was written back in the 1860s, to read. And that's when I set my life script. When I finished that diary, I thought to myself, well, I'll live past 100. And ever since my great-grandmother died at 102 and a half, I thought, well, I ought to live at least to 105 because she, I know more about health than she ever knew. But, when I last visited her, she was 101. And I walked in, and she was canning, getting ready for winter. And I said, Grandma, how do you feel? She said, Bud, I feel just as good as I did when I was 16.
What a blessing.
Wow.
And the interesting thing is, for many, many years now, I have said, I feel just as good as I did when I was 26. And 26 is the year at which I got married.
Beautiful. The power of
I remember
the mind.
I remember speaking to your wife many, many times. And all right, so there's one day I want to share with people, Norm. I don't know if you remember this day. So this is the day I was bike riding to the station. I was doing my show. I thought about you, and I had this realization. I thought, knowing gets in the way. Knowing gets in the way. So, because I was writing up Vibrant Matchmaking, which is going to go on the air in 2 weeks. We have a new national show called Vibrant Matchmaking, Beyond Dating to Relating. And I called you up from the bike trail, and I said, Norm, I think knowing gets in the way, but recognition is a very powerful thing. So if you could recognize someone's being, if you could recognize them and keep seeing them, you'll blossom a level of love you can never do from dating. And you told me a story that day, and you said, yes, I was totally correct. So that confirmed. I got a confirmation from Uncle Norm that I was on the right track. And then you told me the most beautiful story about how you met your most beautiful wife.
Well, when I moved to Boston, I knew one person there. We had interned together a year earlier. He went on to Boston to take his training in neurology, but I had to take another year of general surgery. So I was going there. I wrote and said, David, I don't know anyone else in Boston, but we were pretty good friends. We were interns. Would you like to share an apartment? Well, it happened that he already had a two-bedroom apartment. And he said, sure, let's share it. So I came in, and there he was dating
Yes.
The woman who became my wife, Shealy. And
Yes.
I was jealous. And after a couple of months, well, I knew her at a soul level. I felt
Yes.
And after a couple of months, I said, okay, he was Jewish, and I was a Christian.
Yes.
So I said, well, David, and his parents were Orthodox. I said, David, you would never marry a shuksta. So I want you to stop dating Shealy so that I can. And a month later, he gave me permission to date her with the caveat that I had to wait 1 month after he stopped dating. So I did. And that night, I started calling her. Nobody tells Shealy, of course, what's going on. So I had my first date on December 4th, my birthday, and on January 10th, we were engaged.
Wow.
Wait. So your first date was in December, and then you were engaged when?
Oh,
January 5th?
January 10th. 5 weeks later.
Wow.
But I knew.
Why waste time when you're beyond time?
Right. But we spent 5 months talking. We didn't get married till June. And our dates after that was always talking about values. We worked out every conceivable aspect we could think of about, every aspect of life. In fact, even though we knew we were compatible, we had an agreement that we would not start to have a child until we'd been married a full year. And on our anniversary, I said, "Okay, let's have a child." And the next day, she said, "I'm pregnant," and she was.
Wow.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Took your class, Glenn.
Well,
Where's the inspiration for your class?
I kept saying, "Where's your rose tattoo?" after the Tennessee Williams play.
That's beautiful.
Norm Shealy knew about relationships.
Yes.
From the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think I think the focus just on the individual has been too strong. I think the self-emergent journeys and self-enlightenment misses this relational equation, which I think is so profound. I think we put divorce is like the Big Mac, the big solution. So I just feel this depth. What Norm's talking about is this depth, and he goes in with depth, and she responds, and it becomes a bigger love. It becomes what's now called the new attachment theory, which means you can go past some bruises and deepen your love. So you both have this other quality of nervous system, and safeness that you don't get from breaking up. Mm-hmm. Now we got air bliss, Norm. People could change their brains together.
Absolutely. Well, as a matter of fact, Glenn, I think it is air bliss, especially, is the number one mood improving, if you will, approach that I know, because every single emotional disorder, so to speak, is associated with low levels of oxytocin, and applying air bliss raises your oxytocin significantly.
So I'm going to use this in we have these relational weekends now, vibrant matchmaking weekends, and I want couples to learn, don't let a low mood get in the way of truly seeing your partner. So I give air bliss. As a matter of fact, you read the article to me.
Is coming together, like the way we come together every Thursday.
Yes.
It raises our oxytocin levels when you come together as a group with high energy, with the intention, to be vibrant, or to help each other, to heal each other, become healed. And they've shown this. There's a study. First study was out of UCLA called Tend and Befriend, but this is a scientific thing. I'm sure Norm knows about it, but it raises your oxytocin. But I want some of that stuff. How do I get that, Norm?
That's what you told me. Norm, get this. I need this immediately.
Well, I can't instantly materialize it, but you can always order it off my website, normshealy.com.
I'm there.
And actually, we have one of our leading distributors is in France. He buys.
I'll go there.
500 bottles at a time.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow.
That's
well,
amazing.
the French always know the best, you know.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Before
I have this
you
vision.
joined us, I was going to say, before you joined us, Dr. Shealy, we were talking about awareness and and I know you wrote. I have so many of your books, and so thank you for all the teachings that you share. But you wrote one book particularly that really touched me, and it's called Soul Medicine. And you talked about in that book, the small shifts of energy and awareness that produce major shifts in health. And I just wanted to let you know that Dr. Randall also is an author of a book called Soul Doctoring. So, just bringing the two of you together is, I think, very powerful and very exciting. And I'm just honored to be with both of you in this time. And
thank you for saying that.
Well, I kind of felt today was going to be profound because Dr. Norm Shealy is such a deep family member, and I met Gayle, 56 days ago in linear time, but I felt a sense of, if you will, we were on the same tree, the same quality of frequency in a way that I never felt before, except Norm, and I get to have them both on and get to do this club. It's going to be a mentor membership club on how to vibrantly grow young, so you could learn about things like air bliss, you could lengthen your telomeres, which I believe is number one. I had Norm on the phone with the head of a conference, academic advisor at Harvard. They had a conference last year on the body, the brain, and movement. And Norm, you were talking about, so you've lengthened your telomeres. So you're like 16 years old now. You've shifted the physical degeneration, and you're physically younger than ever.
That's right. Interestingly, when in 2006 is when I first conceived the idea of regrowing or regenerating our telomeres. If you have good health habits, the tips of your DNA, the telomeres, shrink an average of 1% every year of life. So we are genetically programmed to live 100 years. The average American lives only 78 years because they don't have good health habits. But I started in 2006 with techniques. I have 3 different techniques that we've discovered, each of which will regenerate your telomeres 3.5%. And unfortunately, you can't add, they don't go together. They don't add up one after the other. So you do one or the other of 3 techniques. The simplest one is to apply just fire, earth, and crystal bliss. That takes you 1.5 minutes every day. And if you do that for 1 year, it regenerates or regrows your telomeres 3.5%. Now, we did try adding the other 2, water and air, and although they have their own purposes, it doesn't make it any better to regenerate telomeres. The second technique
Can you elaborate on that a little more? Fire, earth, and crystal bliss?
Each of these circuits has a specific purpose. For instance, the ring of fire itself is good for pain and inflammation, any kind of endocrine imbalance. Its best thing is raising DHEA, the anti-stress hormone, for hypertension, for autoimmune diseases, for depression, migraine, and diabetic neuropathy. Stimulating that particular circuit of 12 points raises your DHEA an average of 60%. Air, the diseases or dysfunctions are lack of intuition, tinnitus, hearing loss, depression, anxiety, low energy, ADHD, and autism. Stimulating that ring raises oxytocin and helps 80% of people with depression or anxiety. Water dysfunctions are high blood pressure, congestive heart failure, aldosterone, imbalances, emotional excesses, and obesity, which can be treated not by water alone, but water. You have to boil the water, so to speak. You have to use fire plus water. But its biggest help is its swelling, edema, congestion. And, it's wonderful. I had one man whose legs were twice normal size. In 1 month, they became normal.
Oh, wow.
By drinking boiled water?
Yeah, by stimulating the ring of water. Earth dysfunctions are pain, osteoporosis, all kinds of neurologic diseases, but you have to treat the neurologic diseases with crystal for it to work well. But multiple sclerosis, Parkinsonism, ALS, Alzheimer's, skin diseases, and regeneration. Its most important function is for keeping your bones strong. It raises calcitonin, the hormone that is responsible for keeping your bones strong. And then, of course, crystal dysfunction is, again, to some extent inflammation, but it's associated with excess free radicals, the overall energy of the body. Low radicals are essential to everything. Radicals are the things that ultimately age us and kill us.
Right.
Well, I want to say, Norm, so these things, the protocol that you're talking about is such a pleasurable, like, mechanistic medicine is, except in emergencies, is usually very invasive and deteriorating. And what you're suggesting is, and I want all our Vibrant Living, I want you guys to be part of this club and join us. What's that?
Hi,
Gloria, you on the? No one signaled me. I want to introduce Dr. Gloria Kay here, who's actually, she's been, Norm, I'm excited to introduce you to Dr. Gloria Kay. She's another panel member. We leaked into her show during a divine sequence, it seems.
I love it.
Hi, Gloria.
So this is our new show. This is a new show with Dr. Gloria Kay. She's the longest healer for 50 years, Norm. I have the honor of introducing you two together. And the name of this segment, Norm, is Mastering Miracles.
Manifesting miracles. Let's do it.
Manifesting Miracles.
Hey, that's wonderful. I wrote a book called Miracles Do Happen.
That's with the silver cover. With the silver cover.
Yep.
Has a silver cover.
Hello, Gloria. Hi.
I just want to say, welcome, Gloria. I guess what Norm was saying was incredibly inspiring because I think you said it's a minute and a half. So a minute and a half to apply those 3 different oils.
Exactly.
The Air Bliss. That's just profound. So in a year's time, we'll lengthen our telomeres.
And
what exactly? Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Well, you have to touch each point with an oil. It comes in a roll-on bottle, and you just press the point with the.
We're just going to pause for a moment. Just pause. Exhale. Dr. Norm Shealy's in the house. Dr. Gayle Randall, Lisa LaRose, Cherie Marquez, and you. We're talking about growing young as a way of life, changing our thinking and transforming each moment into deep relational connection, and also your brain becoming young again. Stay with us.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
I'm Kathy Williams, host of Sexy Mom Abundant Life radio show on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. On the show, we explore living abundantly in every area of your life. Ways to let go of limiting patterns and beliefs and to step into the flow of creativity and possibility, knowing you are supported by the universe.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Glenn Brooks. You're listening to the Vibrant Living Network. It's an honor to be here today, along with Dr. Gayle Randall, Dr. Norm Shealy here with us today, neurosurgeon, mystic, author, and so, by the way, Norm has reviewed things and worked with some of the most, I think, one-of-a-kind energy healers. He he lives from a place of great intellect, but also being a great beginner. There's never a time I've asked Norm something to look into it, or I told him about a certain type of healer. He's always so willing. There's a willingness there to discover something new and let the God impulse in his brain constantly be alive. It's such an honor. By the way, it's a deep honor to introduce or connect Dr. Gayle Randall with Norm. And I want to encourage you guys to become, and this will be posted on my website, vibrantliving.network.com, Vibrant Living Network, so you could join our mentor membership club, because there's nothing as powerful when people come together and agree. A miracle begins when we agree together, and we begin practices of life energy together. Okay, life energy together practices. With us, Dr. Gloria Kay, Lisa LaRose, Cherie. Yes, Norm.
An idea. You just gave me another idea. Yesterday, I saw two people, both of whom are terribly lonely. They've moved here from another state. They don't know anyone, and they don't seem to have any knack for how to get a network of friends. And second only to having the 5 health habits is a network of friends. It looks to me as if one of the things that the members of this particular program could be is a network of friends among themselves that they can correspond freely with one another.
Yes.
Absolutely.
100%. Yeah, because isolation, fear, and overwhelm is one of the things that depresses our immune system. Yes, Norm, I think intimacy is one of the greatest. It is one of the greatest healers. As a matter of fact, Ornish was saying this. He was saying after 32 years. I'll be curious to get your comment. He was saying that yoga and meditation and exercise and diet is great, but he says there's nothing like intimacy, having this intimate connection. So yes, deep, real friendship. Not necessarily being a Facebook friend. No disrespect to Facebook, but having a real friend you could breathe with and listen to. Gayle, say something to Norm. I'm so happy to have you in studio together. I'm excited. Norm, I'm
so honored to even be in the same earth with him, honestly.
Look. She likes your earth, Norm. She likes your earth.
we all
I read a little bit. I would love if I ever could be so honored to come to your farm and actually experience your space, and it would lengthen my telomeres for life. I know it would, if I could.
As they say down south, y'all come.
Your crystal room, and feel the vibration there. But even just talking to you, I can feel it from here. So thank you for everything you do.
So when is the Carnegie Hall event going to be taking place, Glenn?
That's going to be 1 year from now, Norm. 1 year, and I'll be on stage with you, and I'm going to turn to people, and I'm going to share my story of how we met and what you meant in my life, and then you're going to give this talk about vibrancy and living the full music that's inside of you, and I'm going to cry and have the other speakers come up about a year from now.
That reminds me, I'm doing a 4-hour workshop in Kansas City this fall.
Yeah.
And for at least 3 of the hours, in the background, but loud enough for everyone to hear it well, is going to be 3 full hours of gamma-imprinted music, plus me.
Really? Nice. That's perfect.
So
perfect to get everybody focused.
What's
I want to let Norm know. Go ahead, Norm. No, what's the name of your event? Tell people about it, please.
Oh, it's the ASEM, the International Society for the Study of Energy Medicine, Energy and Energy Medicine, founded by Elmer Green originally many years ago. It'll be in Kansas City it's always held out at Unity Village.
So you knew Valerie Hunt as well, then? She was my teacher and Norm's good friend.
Listen, when Valerie passed away, when I talked to Valerie maybe a month before she passed away, let's put it this way, I was happy. I was so sad because we used to talk 3-4 hours, and I always just think you and Valerie as in the same tree. Like you and her are such iconoclasts, inquirers, and innovators. So that's how I met Gayle. I feel like Valerie called out to me and said, "Call Gayle today." So so Norm, so probably 4 months ago, I met this amazing lady who we're doing the show with. She's been a good meditator. She hasn't said much, Dr. Gloria Kay. I started doing long-distance healing with her. There's no one I know in the world, actually, besides Dr. Valerie Hunt, who not just validates the power, the integrity, and the legitimacy, as well as I loved your warning article. I referred, I don't know, thousands of people to your article. Brilliant, 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 on the danger of, what was that called? It was on psychic malpractice. It was on medical intuitives and the concerns around people who claim to be medical intuitives. In fact, they're languaging illness and giving people problems. Very significant article that you wrote.
Yeah, one of the great mistakes that I made in 1988 when I created the term medical intuitive.
Yes,
was not.
You're great.
Was not trademarking it, because now
not what?
We didn't trademark it, so it's not a registered. And therefore, every Tom, Dick, and whatever calls themselves a medical intuitive with no certification, no proof whatsoever, but there's nothing I can do except if I'm asked to say, well, they're not certified.
Thank you.
So, Norm, let me ask you this real quick. What can you explain exactly what air bliss is? Like, what exactly is the air bliss?
Air bliss is a mixture of, I think, 7 or 8 specific essential oils. Now, of course, each of them is only 1%. As you know, we don't go above 1% for therapeutic uses with the usual carrier oils. But this particular combination came with a download to me back in, 8 years ago of how to stimulate oxytocin. And so if you put this particular blend on the 13 specific acupuncture points of the ring of air, it raises within 30 minutes. It begins to raise your oxytocin.
Beautiful.
Nice.
It's almost as quick as spraying oxytocin in your nose.
I want some. That sounds fabulous.
So, Norm, when it was really through you, Norm, that I
Glenn, I was just
it was really through you that I
website. We're talking over each other. But if you go to Norm Shealy,
I thought we all agreed to talk over each other. That was one of our agreements.
Right. You can find, Cherie, not only the shop that you can purchase at, but Norm was generous enough to put the information and the points about the sacred rings on there. So you can read about the ring of air and the ring of fire. And actually, there's some wonderful photographs of the exact points. So it totally takes the guesswork out of everything. So it's very, very blessed.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Awesome. Thank you.
So it was really because of Norm and actually Dr. Hunt that I first started to become aware of the world and the legitimacy. And through my inquiries with Norm, I want to encourage you guys to be part of this vibrant youthing club, to keep making vibrant youth, to keep growing younger, so your brain becomes more plastic, your soul becomes more revealed, and you could gain this level of seeing. And as Norm says, as being the practical mystic that he is, your weight, the quality of food, the movement, the forgiveness, when we join together, we make agreements, and we practice them, is another level of power, and that's what this mentor membership club is about. It's going to be on my website, vibrantliving.network.com, Vibrant Living Network. I'm sending stuff to Norm. I met Dr. Gloria Kay, Norm, about 2.5 months ago, and I could feel the wonderful work. She's been a long-distance or remote healer for 50 years. And I said to Gloria Wico, I said, well, I want to introduce you to Norm, so at least Norm can be aware of you. Because in one of Norm's books, I don't know if it's in distribution anymore, but there was a book Norm wrote called Occult Medicine Could Save Your Life. Which, right? I mean, what a title. But the truth is, unknown to you, the things like prayer, the things like, we do send each other energy, and I feel this with Gayle 24 hours beyond the clock, and I feel with Norm. This energy that we invoke and summon in each other. 2.5 months ago, Norm and Gayle and Cherie and Lisa, I met Dr. Gloria. I'm taking enough ginkgo, I should remember their names. And you started to work on me, and I want to say it was a period of profoundness and connectedness, and the sessions leaked into my days, and I feel like one of the things I said to you is I know Norm has tested people who've claimed this ability. I feel in my heart you're very legitimate. I was even going to ask Norm today, of course, if he had any aches or pains that, if he's open to that. I was going to ask him that. He's listening in right now, I think. So I just want you to share a little bit about anything, and also want to introduce Dr. Norm Shealy, because you've been in this world, Dr. K. You've been sharing this to people. You've made a major difference in me. And I was saying to Norm, and I want to get Norm and Gayle, your comment. It's hard to put into words because it sounds so. It doesn't sound real when someone. The idea of someone working on you long distance. The sessions that I've done with Gloria, Norm, and Gayle, and Lisa, and Cherie was so intimate. Like if she was working on the back of my eyes, as an example, and she said she was putting her hands through the back of my head. It's a little occult. I could actually feel her. And I would exhale, and I could feel that experience of her actually being inside my skull and kind of meeting these aspects to me where I got a little alienated from or estranged from. Because anytime we have an illness, we start to get estranged. We start to go away from the body. That's why a lot of the indigenous rituals are about coming back in. Say something, Gloria. You're very articulate.
Well, I feel like I'm jumping in, and you have all had the opportunity to meet with each other, but I'm happy to jump in. Yes, I love my work, and it's very, very effective. I also do hands-on, but I just find that remote healing is more profound, happens more quickly, and I can go places with remote healing that I can't do with hands-on. For instance, issues with the mouth and moving the teeth around and sinuses and things where you really want to get inside and address issues that need to be addressed. But the hands-on healing has, I think, more limitations than remote healing. And it doesn't matter about the distance. And I love this story. I was contacted by a woman in Sri Lanka. Her 18-month-old child was in an accident at age 7, and I got this request, a plea in broken English, please help my child. And I really wasn't sure that I'd be effective. And I normally get a picture, a psychic picture of what's going on, but I didn't with this child. So I asked Mom to send me a picture, and I did healing as a result of having viewed the photo, and 2 days later, Mom reported that the child no longer had a fever. So there's real hard evidence that it works. And the second photo that I got, the child was much more alert, and Mom stated that the child was much more alert. So, it doesn't matter if it's Sri Lanka, or sometimes I will do remote healing with the client who is sitting in my office. This is an area that I need to get to, and I don't feel that I can do it hands-on. I will ask that person to sit 8 to 10 feet away from me and direct energy to areas that need attention. So it has a lot of application. I also want to mention that, since it's so profound and so intimate, I won't do a healing unless I have a specific request and or permission. And probably exception to that might be an animal, but still, I would like to have give permission that this is what they want. So I think that's my story in a nutshell, and I absolutely love what I do, and I hope I'm around to do it for another 50 years. What can I tell you?
Beautiful.
Give out your contact, by the way, Gloria, please.
My website is just my name, drgloriak.com, and it tells all. I've also taught Healing Touch at UCLA Medical School to first-year medical students. I've worked with some well-known athletes, the most famous of whom is Rick Barry, and there's a video on my website of Rick saying, yes, it really works. Also, on my website, there's one video that's a little too long, And nevertheless, it tells the story, how I was working with diabetic neuropathy at the Sansom Diabetes Research Institute, and we got pretty good results in the pilot study. So all of this is on my homepage. It's a 6-minute video. You don't have to watch the whole thing. What is rather fascinating, there's a physicist who, using infrared, was able to capture the energy of my hands being transferred to a subject. So for the skeptic, that's pretty graphic information. Hard, and I mean, I don't think you can Photoshop that. Maybe you can, I don't know. But anyway, that's hard and fast. You can see it. So.
And give out the website again, please, Gloria.
Yes, just my name, drGloriaKaye.com. And I have a PhD in clinical psychology. I'm not a medical physician. Also,
Norman, Gayle, what do you make? Go ahead.
Yes.
Please, Gloria.
Overall, my specialty is pain management. So, what happens with someone who calls and they're in pain, I get a psychic impression. I actually can see what's going on, and I try to address imbalances in the body. And once those imbalances are addressed, the pain usually resolves. Now, whether it resolves 100% or 20% or 50%, I can't predict. But after the first session, people generally have relief. In some cases, there's a delayed reaction, but I would say maybe 1 in 500. Otherwise, people just feel better. So that's my story.
It's a beautiful.
Yes, I can attest to that. I can attest to that. That I did feel better, and my hip felt better, and my legs felt better, and they. Yes, while you were working on me, I felt the relaxation in my body, for sure. For sure.
I wanted to bring up me and so I wanted to run this by you because I know, I see you as a scientist and mystic. So it's fascinating to me that you stretch beyond your degrees to listen to a bigger mind than you were schooled at school. You stretched into a mind that had to do with God and universal wisdom. I was on the phone with Gayle the other day, my co-vibrant coach, like you're my co-vibrant coach. Me and you were talking one day, Norman. I was telling you about coaching, and you said to me, I'm a coach. And I was thinking, you've been a coach for, 55 years. You're a coach. You're the kind of coach that listens to people and discovers their wisdom and gives them access, like with the Air Bliss. You give people their inner pharmacy and give them the keys. So we were talking to Dr. Andy. How do I say Dr. Andy's last name, Gayle? You're better at last names. What's his? I didn't put you on the spot, did I? You remember Dr. Andy's last name?
I don't right now.
Okay, I put you on the spot. Okay, right. So one of the things that
you're good at that,
Dr. Andy is,
you're good at the putting people on the spot, but it's all.
Thank you. That's a good quote. I'm going to put that on my new literature. I'm putting you on the divine spot when I. So one thing.
It's Andy Rosenfarb.
We met with Dr. Andy. We're going to find his last name. He has a clinic in New Jersey. What's that?
It's Rosenfarb here.
I think you okay here? You okay?
Somebody's cutting out. Is it you or me?
That was said, I thought about you, was Dr. Andy said to us, he runs an acupuncture clinic only for the eyes. He only works on people's eyes, and they come from around the world to see him. One of the things he said to me in Gayle was he was saying the saddest thing around eye conditions, but this speaks to all conditions, is the belief system of a lot of conventional medicine. He said to us a lot of people that came there were given no possibility if they had a vision improvement. You talked about attitude. What's the biggest way that people listening can overcome the obstacle of conclusions and obstacles in terms of professionals' interpretations saying that it's not possible? Like you can't cure this. What would be your comment about that?
To whom are you addressing that?
Oh, I was addressing it to Norm or Gayle.
One of my major life is to dispel things that other doctors put on people. They come in with these like sentences, And I dispel them by saying, those are just words. They're just words we use to put you in a diagnosis code so people can bill for what you have. But let's actually get to the root cause and do everything we can do to cure this or heal this, because everybody can get healed. Some people get cured, but everybody can get healed. And to every solution, to every problem, there's a solution. So, and that is almost universal.
Well, I totally agree. The woman that we talked about earlier who came to my clinic in the third week suddenly got well of her cancer had been told by her doctor she had 2 months to live. And, she was still alive 8 years later.
Exactly. We have a million of those, don't we?
What's it like growing young?
Thanks for having a million of them. Absolutely.
His name's what?
Andy Rosenfarb.
Andy Rosenfarb, yes. He's going to be with us on the 11th, I believe.
Amazing.
On the 11th. I'm planning on actually visiting with him. Yes. Yeah. We had a connection with him very quickly.
Natural therapy instead of medicines and lasers and things like that.
Norm, what's it like? One of the things that a lot of people said to me when I worked a lot with Jack LaLanne at one point, a lot of people said, well, no one I know is like Jack. And I'm thinking, no one I know is like Norm. What is it like for you? What's your experience of growing younger in life? What's your experience because people have these pictures in their minds. If you ask someone to think about a 70-year-old, they're going to think about some decline.
I actually still, energetically, mentally, etc., feel the same as I did exactly 60 years ago when I was 26.
Awesome.
And I get up every morning, and after feeding my 2 dogs, I spend 90 minutes doing moderately vigorous exercise.
That's great.
And, I do that 7 days a week. I know some people take a day. I don't want to take a week off. I like it. And so then I have my breakfast. My breakfast is a slush always, and it's got 50 grams of protein in it and the equivalent of 15 servings of fruits and vegetables and the antioxidants. And then I don't have another meal until 5:30 or 6:30 in the evening when I have my dinner because I'm not hungry.
Right.
I want to start having breakfast at Norm, everybody. His breakfast sounds amazing.
He's intuitively eating exactly the perfect high nutrient density food, and then doing intermittent fasting with exercise. That's what everybody's saying to do now to grow young. So that's beautiful.
Well, Norm,
I hear
you said 50.
I hear this a lot from people, Norm. I hear, getting old's a bitch, or don't get old, or this kind of thing. And I don't, you're not saying that, and I don't say that. I mean, I'm 67 years old, but I feel like I'm 40, or maybe younger. I ride horses, I do Pilates, and I just keep getting happier, and more energetic. So
that's awesome.
I'm following in your footsteps, sir. So thank you very much.
I heard a wonderful song a couple of days ago. Keep the old man out.
Block him out. He's not allowed in.
So 50 grams of protein, Norm. It's interesting you're saying 50 grams because there's been a lot of controversy about protein. Where's that protein coming from?
Well, actually, it consists of 36 grams of whey protein isolate and 3 heaping tablespoons of a natural old-fashioned peanut butter and 2 tablespoons of beef gelatin.
So I guess some people might call that protein loading. That's okay. You get for your bones and for your skin and for your brain. Now, is dinner way less protein or similar? What's dinner like?
Dinner is going to be fish or some kind of meat, and veggies.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, essentially,
has that been the same diet that you've had for 60 years? Is your diet changed much?
Well, yeah, I used to eat lunch, but I wasn't eating as much protein in the morning then. You know, if I just ate a regular breakfast with eggs and something, then I would have to have lunch. But the last, 6 or 8 years, I've been doing just the slush because, I like it, and it energizes me.
You like it? Yeah. What's been your experience, since Gloria talked about her experience for the last 50 years, what's been your clinical experience? I know you have devices at your place, at your institute. You've tested and worked with many long-distance healers. What would you want to share with us about long-distance healing, the power, the wonder of it? What have you discovered around long-distance healing?
I've worked with at least 16 or more spiritual healers, and I have 216 cases where I have an EEG done here in Springfield with the healer anywhere from outside the room to 1,000 miles away. And I have demonstrated in all of these situations that within really at the most a couple of minutes from 1,000 miles away, the healer can change the EEG of a person here in Springfield.
Yeah, exactly. Valerie Hunt used to do those things at UCLA, and I was her student.
Oh, yeah, I know.
There's also research in a book by, years ago, I used to go around the country talking on the science behind mind-body medicine, and Daniel Goleman wrote a book called Destructive Emotions, with a bunch of other brain scientists, and they mentioned some research in there. They had people inside functional MRI scanners. They had remote healers working on them from not even in the same building, somewhere else, and they showed changes in the brain as the remote healers were working on them. So it's not a joke. It's not woo-woo. It's a real thing. I had the great fortune of having Gloria work on my foot, which I broke jumping my horse. And it's much better, Gloria. So thank you for that. And I could feel her in my foot when she worked.
Well, actually, the very first recording that we did was in 1977 in Springfield, Missouri. Elmer Green brought up his equipment, and Olga War was there, and we have her feeding from 60 feet away 12 different patients, and every time the EEG changed immediately.
Wow. Yeah, that's what Valerie used to do, too.
What time is it right now? I need a time check. I have no studio in front of me. Is it 3 o'clock right now, East Coast time?
No,
What's that?
2:30. No, 2:30.
I love your linear mind. I love that. Thank you. Stay with us from our Vibrant Living. We'll give it all the contacts as well, and we'll see if Dr. Gloria. Maybe we'll see if Dr. Gloria could actually demonstrate her work right now with someone. Stay with us.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at omtimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers, pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Imagine being fired because of who you love. Imagine being denied medical treatment because of who you marry. Imagine being evicted because of who you are. Millions of Americans don't have to imagine this. They have to live it. Because in 31 states, it's legal to discriminate against LGBT people. Get the facts at beyondido.org. Brought to you by the Gill Foundation and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Glenn Brooks. You're listening to the Vibrant Living Network, Beyond the Interview, into the Experience. We've been talking with Dr. Norm Shealy, Missouri. Among Norm's many books is 90 Guides to Self-Health. He's got many others, and you can find his website at normshealy.com. Am I saying the right website? Lisa, you're on the ball, LaRose. Am I that the right website, drnormshealy.com? Or is it just Norm
that's
Shealy?
Correct. It's
normshealy.com. And we're going to post about the.
Yes.
Well, I think it's Norm Shealy, right? Or is it Lisa? Is it normshealy.com?
Let me just. You just threw me off. It's normshealy.com with no doctor. So Shealy is Shealy.
And I talked to Norm earlier about getting something posted. It's probably going to be on the Vibrant Living Network first, www.Vibrant Living Network. But I was thinking that, and then I want to turn things over to Gayle, because I'm going to go to take a hot tub. No, I'm just kidding. Joke. Gloria, I just was thinking to myself, have you ever had someone, the EKG reading, long distance, have you anything like that? I think you told me you had something like that with a physicist, didn't you?
Oh, just that the electricity in my body was more pronounced than it would be in a non-healer. But,
wow.
I tell you, even though we have scientific evidence that remote healing does affect change,
yes.
I have a question. How does the energy move from one point to another? And, I like to do site-specific. So even though there's a change in the EEG and brain functioning, I'm interested in knowing how the energy gets into that knee or gets into your eye and makes a difference. So I don't know if that is measurable, but that would be my dream, to find out if that can be measured and how the energy does move. What is the vehicle for having the energy move?
All things are vibration. Each one of us has a vibration, and everything on the planet has a vibration. The planet itself has a vibration. I believe that the healer has a way of tapping into the vibration of the planet and the vibration of the person. What Valerie showed was the healer vibrates more in tune with what the planet is vibrating, maybe 9 cycles per second, and then begins to get the healee or the patient or the client, whatever you want to call it, starts vibrating in the same cycles as the healer. And then how that gets into this specific focus, I don't know. That's an interesting. Wouldn't it be measurable? But I bet that tools are going to come that can measure that kind of vibration. I mean, maybe curling photography could be used, but a lot of people doubt that as a real thing. But if they can use infrared to measure your energy from your hands, why couldn't they use it to measure the energy of, say, my foot getting healed or something like that?
Perhaps.
Right.
Perhaps. Yeah.
One thing I feel from you, Dr. Gloria, is you're so much in the heart, and when I work with people who don't necessarily understand the terminologies of vibrations or frequencies or resonance or even remote healing, is that nerve cells are electrical cells, and that the heart emits a pulse, and so. When I know this because I feel it so much from you, and even the title of your book, Healer's Hands, Healer's Heart, is, it's your intent to serve, and that you drop into that field. And so it would only, from a logical sense, from my standpoint, is that when you drop into that energy grows, and you're focusing on really being of service and to elicit change, and ask for everything from the highest and greatest good, and it's truly a blessing. And sometimes we don't necessarily need the scientific stuff, although for some people they need it. You just have to know. And
she was saying she was wondering how it works scientifically.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's very true.
I'm going to do an impersonation of. Okay, I want to let you guys complete. I had an intuitive impulse, but please continue the vibrant speaking circle.
Well, I appreciate what you were saying, and I remember years ago I was privy to a VHS video. That's how long ago it was, of Valerie's, and she showed the wavelength.
God bless her.
And were you familiar with? I mean, have you seen it, that video? Or maybe well,
I haven't.
So that was really, that was like hard evidence. And the fact that I might be connecting to, a higher vibration and sending that's actually helpful information. So I appreciate that very much. That was good insight. That was a good insight. And in terms of using infrared to see changes, the physicist who did the initial work is now in Panama, and she no longer has her lab. So I might be hunting for another physicist who is interested in documenting the effects of remote healing on site.
Yeah, let's put it out there. Let's put it out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Put that out there.
I'm ready.
I'm ready as well.
Yeah. Do you want to like for people to be able to access both of your websites, if you would be so kind as to let people know how the best way to reach you?
Sure.
Me?
You go first, Gail.
Go first.
Sure.
That's amazing.
Dr. G.M., like Godmother, Randall, RANDALL.com. Also at Dr. Gayle Randall on Instagram, and Dr. Gayle, one word, space, Randall on Facebook. Thank you.
So my website is drgloriakaye.com, and I respond actually best to text messaging. So if that's doable for you, I can give you the telephone number. It's also on my website. But I will take this opportunity. I'll repeat it twice. It's 805-701-0363. 805-701-0363. Also, feel free to send me an email, which is drgloriak@AOL.com. I know AOL puts smiles on your face, because who else uses it? My daughter.
Yeah.
So I figure if my daughter is using it, I can use it anyway. It has not failed me, and I can use that. So there you have it, and I'm happy to answer any inquiries. And also, I do a 15-minute telephone evaluation. So if you do contact me and you need more information, or you want me to zoom in on your issue, we can use that time to do that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, here's my brief reenactment. It's been 56 days since I met Dr. Gayle Randall. But 57 days ago, or 56 thereabout, I got a phone call. I'll give you guys the phone call. Here I go. Hi, Glenn. This is Tony. I wish I could do the voice better. Hi, this is Tony from Dr. Gayle Randall's office. And I said, hello. I said, hello. And she says, are you available to speak to Dr. Randall? And I said, yes. And I want you guys to say yes. Say yes to those moments in between your thoughts, so you could allow something way beyond what you think. I said yes, and the next thing I did is I headed to a convenience store, and I headed right to the dumpster because there was no one around, and felt like I had a space. I had a relational space. And the three things Gayle told me that day is, one is that I love you. Two is that you went through this in a period of isolation, and I'm totally there for you. Say yes. And no matter where you are, what you're doing, allow that yes to permeate your being, to permeate your brain, your thoughts, your emotions. Let that yes be the residence from which you begin to listen from at different moments in the day. In the book, The QR, neurologist Charles Strobel says that it just takes a couple of seconds to shift your whole neurology. Let that yes be an open door so that something can come in your life beyond your thinking and your brain. And that's what happened now. It's been 56 days, and it only deepens. It's not a one-time thing. So don't think you've meditated and that's it for the day. The meditation is becoming aware of that yes and bringing your full attention to it in moments, seconds. Your life's precious. Enjoy it. And I want to thank you guys. I don't have my studio clock. I got my inner time. I really don't use clocks, but somehow today I'm not in my regular location, which is good. I want to thank Cherie Marquez for sharing his space.
We have about 17 more minutes, Glenn.
This is a really good time for each of you to sing that song you've been really excited about. So if you want to sing that song you've been sharing, we're going to put you on the spot today if we have you sing a song. You know what I should do, Lisa? I should go right to Gayle. Gayle, what's your message today? You're always posting blogs. You did something on the liver. Well, you want to leave something with the audience today from something you're working on?
Yeah, I do, actually. I really, really do. One of my new, it's not really new. It's actually very, very old. I've always been an environmentalist. I was actually kind of an eco-warrior back in the day. But now it's taking a new way of reaching people, a new way of bringing the from grassroots sort of revolution in a way, if we can even use that word. But making change, let's call it making change. And let me just call it Vibrant Planet. But I truly believe in my heart and in my soul and in my bones that personal and planetary health go hand in hand. And that's not a new but a very old focus of mine, but I think the urgency, the imperativeness of our planet's condition, that we need to share our energy as a team with our planet and send out that message to all the people and get them to come on to also support our planet. Because with our planet, we become more vibrant. As we make our planet more vibrant, whether it just be saying thank you to the planet for partaking of her, thank you for supporting my feet on her earth, thank you for the foods and the animals and plants and things that share it with me, and the people like you on my most sacred team here. So it's really for the planet. So Vibrant Planet.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
That's a beautiful message, Gayle. I'd like to further.
Thank you.
I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, I was a musician at the time playing the flute, and I channeled music. And it's on my YouTube channel. There's a 59-minute YouTube piece. It's called Healing Tones for Planetary Stress. And some people
let's resurrect that.
Yeah, they swear by anxiety. I don't suggest that you have it while you're driving in traffic, although you might want to. But it's 59 minutes, and then there are shorter segments. But as I
Gloria?
said, oh, yes.
Could I have permission? Would you help me to put that on my new website called Pledge for Planet, Vibrant Planet, Personal Health and Planetary Health go hand in hand? Can that be my starting piece? Will you grace me with that?
Oh, sure. Please use that music any way you'd like. Yes.
So somehow you got to figure out how to send that to me so I can put it on the website that I'm just starting. A week ago, I went online, and can you believe that name was available? I couldn't believe it.
No. That's wonderful.
It was waiting for you.
Channel?
So that'd be a great gift. That would be a star. That would be a shooting star to help start my website, which I have the meeting about tomorrow with the website people. If you go on there now, pledgeforplanet.com, it has a few things. It has like a statement for me, but it says under construction. But you'll be seeing more and more on there because we're going to put glorious music on there.
So what's the best way for you to receive that?
Well, we can work that out later.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, that's off the movie set. We're on the movie set right now. It's an off the movie set.
Oh no, off the movie out. That's vibrant.
Yeah.
Vibrant.
All right, so a couple of things. So what happened was when I started to do the show today, and by the way, so Gayle told me it was going to be fine. I lost my charger I have a special headset for doing the show, and it has another charger, and I misplaced it. And so I'm at my friend owns a green laundromat, and so as soon as I told him, I said, "Hey, I'm about to go in there," he just handed me the phone. So I've been at Cherie Marquez, who's Sikh. So he's practices Kundalini yoga with his whole family, and he's a musician.
Love it.
And he walked by me a minute ago, and he goes, "What's up, Glenn?" And I said, "I'm doing my national show. That's what's up." So before I leave, I'm going to show him because he just knows me. In the old days, I used to be on different stations, and people would come to see me. So one time, I'm going to tell you guys this story because I think you're going to love it, and I think it kind of connects with a lot of the dots. And God, it was so good introducing Norm today and hanging out with Norm, and I just love Norm. All right, so many years ago, I heard about this guy, Master Tanner. So he owned a delicatessen and pizza shop in upstate New York. I knew he had an international following, so I go to see him, and I said to him, he's a Sufi master. That would make him what's the specific name of a Sufi? Anyway, it will come. He's known as a master in the Sufi tradition, and he told me that he didn't know he had healing power at all, but that they didn't have health insurance, and his son broke his leg in the pond in upstate New York. And when he put his hands on his son's leg, the bone healed. And he started to heal people, and I knew a lot of people were going to see him. So he came to studio. Now, when the Sufi tribes come, they bring a lot of people. So we're sitting in a studio. I think it's a very hot studio. Maybe it's 89. It's a very hot studio, no air conditioning. It was a public radio station. And Master Tan is sitting there, and he tells a story that has touched my soul and my heart since he told me the story. And the story is that in California, we were in New York at the time. In California, this kid had fell off a mountain bike, and he was in intensive care, and his lungs were filling with fluid. And the father came to see Master Tanner. They hadn't met before, but someone said, "If your son's in trouble and he's near death, go to see Master Tanner." So he went to see Master Tanner, and he said, "Can you help my son? Can you help him? He's in California, and I hear you can help people long distance." And Master Tanner said, "Yes." He goes, "But I need you to cry." He goes, "Because if you cry, you'll touch my heart, and I'll be able to help your son." So the guy just, he just started to tear up. I could see as Master Tanner told the story, everybody teared up in the studio. We're sitting it's a very small studio, but there's like 12 of us. And he started to cry and cry. And Master Tanner, he had shown me before with dowsing rods that of himself, the dowsing rods can only go so far, but when he amplifies the energy, it goes forever. The power goes to the rods. And that gentleman, the son, who was 29 or something, he healed very quickly. The hospital called. I remember sitting there and just feeling like, oh my God, I could feel this through my soul that the experience of what we call the extraordinary is actually, it's in commonness. We don't give it the languaging. We don't give it the space to exist as a space that does exist. It exists now in the same way that, right now there's a space behind your eyes that's alive and there's a space behind your knees. We just, from when you're a baby on, it seems like the whole game is, can you get someone's approval? Can you get focused on the outside? So in the Vibrant Living Challenge with Norm and all of us, it's really about letting that vibrancy and sharing it, and then learning how to amplify it with others, and during that process to reverse your age, to lengthen your telomeres, to begin to feel this relationalness, so that as someone expressed yesterday, that you could put behind you this emergency response. It seems that's what's contagious is we have this emergency response. So one of the people we're going to have on, one of my intentions, is Professor Cornell West. We're going to do a show with Cornell, who's over at Princeton, about beyond the formula, because so much of the media is about an end result of something, and the end result is so much about an emergency response or reaction. So it's very different than we actually have some awareness of what we would like, and we're cultivating that. So to cultivate these attributes as a group over a year changes our brain and changes the quality of our breath and our whole system. So I want to invite you guys again to be part of the Vibrant Living Challenge with Dr. Norm Shealy. My initial name was called Growing Young, and now we're calling it Vibrant Young. Because really, the vibrancy is an ageless thing. We just get distracted by we get distracted. I guess Deepak Chopra said once to me in studio, he says, I want you to ponder this, guys. We grow old and die because we see other people grow old and die. We grow old and die because we see other people grow old and die. So we see people, and their scripts play out in their body. So, for instance, when you see someone in their 90s, and they're doing this wonderful movement called Tai Chi, or you see a man jump over a chair, or you see these things, here's what I learned about aging. I learned it in a book called Somatics, Thomas Hanna. So he says that actually what aging is, it's a chronic stress response that we take on and forget we take on. It's actually based on the startle principle. So when a person is startled, they pull back and come forward. So in this year, our Vibrant Youth program, our Growing Young program with Dr. Norm Shealy, Dr. Gayle Randall, we're going to unlearn that. And we're going to learn how to actually move in a different way, which will change our brain. And we'll have a community of people to use a different language. Because a habitual language is a habitual life. I want you to go to Vibrant Living Network. We're going to have a big write-up on this. I want you to join, making it very accessible. The shows will play for free. And then we're going to have an inside circle of people so you can meet with us on Zoom. We can actually see each other. And then we're going to have a get-together with all of us, including Norm, as he goes around with that wonderful message.
Well, I like that.
I'm going to do Tony. I'm going to do Tony again, by the way. I thought that I did. I feel a level 4 or 5 satisfaction. I think I do a better Tony. I'm feeling that. I'm just getting that I could. Okay. She's got a very it's a soft, very sweet voice, right?
Right, and you're
so intuitive. Tony's voice. What's that?
I said you're so intuitive, Glenn.
Thank you. Well, you helped my intuition, Gloria. You helped my intuition, really. I felt like I could let down my outer mind and just like totally, literally, it's funny that you say the long-distance work is more powerful because when I'd come on, I knew I had a session with you. I just would surrender. I would surrender to the session with you, like you were right. I was like laying my hands on your lap and you're holding the back of my head.
Right,
exactly how it was.
Right.
I love that, what you said. The remote, actually not being in touch was more powerful because you were more in touch.
Mm-hmm.
That's so beautiful.
Well, I think we're moving forward. That's for sure.
I want to thank Lisa for staying up extra to get the pictures up on Vibrant Living Network. We got so much good stuff I want to share with you guys, including our Vibrant matchmaking is going to be a regular feature. Vibrant matchmaking beyond dating to relating. I know you guys are going to love it because, as Norm said, I love what Norm said. His idea that we've got to become vibrant friends. I've got an aversion to the word friends. I think it has something to do with Facebook. Sorry to say, but real friends who care about each other's souls, your being, and other people's souls. That I said when I say to people in my seminars, how many people? By the way, Gayle's one of them. Lisa's one of them. Gloria. How many people did you call 3 in the morning? And they're there to wake up and listen to you.
Well,
how many people did you call 3 in the morning? They listen to you. Not too many. That's in the back. That's a fortune cookie. I like that. Not too many. But if you're someone who has 3 or 4 people that you can, that's quite a blessing.
Oh,
I like people to say, I got 84,000 Facebook friends, and I got 3 people I can actually speak to. I want to be a little more honest about their social media.
Right.
A little more honest.
Well.
So the latest book on the research of technology is actually a book called The Village Effect, and it talks about the impact of texting and email in our lives. It's the latest scientific stuff. Like, how do you actually enter someone's brain at the emotional level? Is it through email or texting? So they contrast it with actually in person, right? I'm learning. I know Gayle would like me to become a better texter or even step out of retirement. I guess I couldn't have retired from texting because I haven't texted. But that does help people to come see me in person and knock on my door. Or come see me. Honest to God, go ahead, Gloria.
Just texting makes life easier. I mean, you don't have to be married to your phone. But,
That's what I'm
in
trying
5
to
minutes you can.
It's not about replacing your relationships with texting, but that all of us are so valuable that we need a faster way of communicating some of the small stuff.
Right. Exactly, the small stuff. Right. Well, I'm going to say goodbye.
I just got a text, by the way.
Oh, you did? Well, congratulations on that.
No, okay. I was going to say I got a text from Tony at the office. She rated me a 6 on impersonating her. A 6. That's not bad. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Well, love to all of you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Love to you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Oh, yeah.
Bye. You've been listening to our next segment, which is called Mastering Miracles. If you want to be in touch with us, send an email. Learn more about the program, or my Vibrant Coaching Program, anything you hear on the show. I'm going to give you the email address and the phone number.
I feel like a human being again. Thank you. That was painful.
Dr. Randall's office, this is Rhonda.
I think we're still on the air.